I was told so many stories, and I kept them in my stomach. Lies, the truth, fake smiles and blood money. I lost cause at a loss for words, trying to keep my tone down. What I'm saying's absurd, unusual, the context unique, buried in the depths of metaphorical speech. A hidden message, pull the infinite strings, reconnect the ends and pretend to justify the means. Parallel, we're reading the same page, turn days into literature simple as loose change. It was perfect, or at least that's what I'm told. Courage is dead, spending my life fearing the cold. I was useless, feeling like dead weight, plain as day. Introducing when handshakes. Originality was spread across the board. Intricate self-worth, I'm searching for more. I swear rain doesn't fall on my fields. It takes a drought to avoid all the secrets that I concealed. Hidden within the dust-covered land behind the city. The street lights are dim and the fog is always walking with me. It's nothing new, my eyes adjusted to the scene. Flickering on and off, it's just the daily routine. I grab a hold of time, forcing not to leave. The weeds grow sporadic and my home is where I'm quarantined. Thinking less, move the top to where the fuel rests. Giving all I got to breathe life to the common sense. Moving the top to where the fuel rests. Giving all I got to breathe life to your silhouette. Silhouette, 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 silhouette. Each one of us has our own destiny. A place where we come from and a place where we're going. Sometimes what we see or touch might be rough or rigid, like a wax painting a sound, stressed to fill the holes in the life we've been living. And each one of us has a story, different plots intertwined and connected. We pass in the street, but all we notice are the vibes that are reflected. Question is, do we take or deflect? It seems heavy, but when I roll my hands was steady. The whites of his eyes seen from the paper till I was ready. Frustration became more common than being calm and outcast. Walked in the motion of every song till it fades. I washed away the shades of color, peeled back the winter, bringing light to my summer. I spent the longest time trying to decide on who to be. My destiny manifests, my mind's in the open sea. See, I feel better when I'm alone. Escape my own past, creation of time zones I flipped. See my eyes focus on every trip. Reaching for the sky becomes harder with every hit till it clears. The smoke settles on all my fears. Rain drops and covers the remains of every tear that I flip. See my eyes focus on every trip. Reaching for the sky becomes harder with every hit. Every hit, every hit, every hit, every hit.
Right. Okay, time to get going. I want to show you first of all what the plan is today. Let's bring it down from there. Alright, easiest way to show you what we're up to here. Right, this is where the vents are going to go. Today's about vents. I want to cut the vents in this side and the other side and then hide them so they're completely invisible. And that means I want that's right, start at the beginning. This is a steel belly pan and it has nothing to let any air through it at this time. This little gap here even is going to be filled. I'm going to put metalage up there later on. So all these red hot pipes in here are going to be in there getting hotter and hotter, and they do need a vent. There needs to be ventilation. We've said all this, and a lot of you said cut a big hole in the front. No, not going there, because that line is extremely important visually for the design of the bike in order to match that line or to mirror that line. Without, let's come back out here. There you go. Without that, then that, you know, you lose the whole effect. Bringing a traditional belly pan pointed forward there ain't gonna work. So what I need to do instead is the vents are gonna be in the side. I'm gonna cut a vent there and there and there. Many of you have given me some great ideas on louvers and venturis and all sorts, but honestly, this is what I'm going to go with. I can only do one thing, I can only follow one path, and this is the one I'm going to follow. I'm going to cut a hole there, and there, and there, and that's going to be 3 big holes in the side. And are they going to work? Are they going to suck air in? Yes, they will, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the side of this tank here, and I'm going to cover them up. I'm literally going to put a cover panel over the top of them, standing off about 1/2 inch, with an open lip just here at the front. So I'll cut that round in some way, whatever way, and there'll be a gap here. So any air hitting the front of this will travel around the side, it will go underneath the cover panel, and then the only place for it to go, as it goes underneath the cover panel, it will build up pressure. Thumb over a hose pipe, remember, put your thumb over a hose pipe, and it goes faster. It squeezes the venturi or the gap that it goes through, and it speeds up. So as the air goes in the gap at the front, it's going to speed up and it's going to build up pressure. The only place for that pressure to go is through the vent holes into the belly pan. There's a big hole underneath here as well, so any heat will come out there as cold air goes in there, and naturally what vents out the back as well. So they'll be good effective vents provided they're covered up. So looking at that shape there, you can see the same there. More or less all this bit at the top has been cut away in that format on this particular one, so all that will go again, but this line is more or less the same as this line. Not quite, because they're different tanks. That's from a different model as LX7, but it's close enough. So what I need to do is cut out that entire half there and match it. Then I've got to start trimming and trimming to match it, and of course the other side as well. So the first task for today is to put some music on for you, get the cutting tools out and cut the sides out of this donor sacrificial tank, so I can use them as covers, because until I've got the covers cut out, I won't know what I'm covering, what amount of this I'm covering. So where to cut the holes will only become apparent once I can mark where the cover panels are going to be. So grindage, cuttage, let's get these out. There we go. One side panel. One cover panel. Let's pull it out of it. There we go. Now the rod gives that appearance of thickness, so you'll see it from sort of that angle, and it won't look thin and skinny with a sharp edge, and I'm going to do that with the whole belly pan. So that's an answer to a lot of you that have asked that question. Are you going to put some rubber strip on the edge like you do in a plastic screen? No, this is what I'm going to do. That I think is by far a better way. You know, you can lead that. I could lead solder that stuff in, but it's no point, it really isn't. I'll just, when it comes to painting it, little tiny foam of filler will fill those little pinholes like that. Where are we? There you go. Right, now we've got to mark out holes to cut underneath it. Right, this is just to give me an idea where to bore the hole. So this is the concept. That cover plate will hide the holes, but the holes will be large. We'll put one there so that that pipe that's really close. Actually, remember what I was saying, if you've been watching this a while, that pipe there was touching this here, but the addition of these, when I put these tabs on, I welded them just a bit further out, which just pulls, it just flexes the front of this out no more than about 5 or 6 mil either side, which gives me a good 8 mil clearance. So there's clearance there now. That's not touching the other side now, but I'm going to put the first big hole at the front, then a middle one, then a smaller one at the back, and those 3 holes will allow the air to feed straight into the belly pan at speed, because it will go in when that's welded. I'm going to weld it on there with spacers, and that air will go in underneath there all round, and as the air goes in it will speed up, like I said, and that will cause air pressure to develop underneath here, and the easiest place for that air pressure to come out will be through the vent holes, because there'll be big holes right there, and that will feed actually force-fed air into the belly pan, not just, well, when you're riding along anyway, force-fed air rather than just ambient air, which is no use. All right, and that air, once it's force-fed in, will then evacuate out the back, and that will take away the heat on a heat transfer basis, like a little heat exchanger. There we are. So that's roughly where it's going to sit. So that's where I'm going to bore the holes. Just give you an idea where. So let's mark where them holes are going to be. Right, here it is. Okay, I was completely stupid thinking I'd get them both done today, but there's one of them. Just come out a bit. There you go. Right, now the surface of this is buckled just a little bit because I really wanted to heavily weld those bolt heads in, and I used the bolts. If you've been following the channel, this was a bag of 100 of these bolts that I bought for doing just such a thing as this on the Bandit. If you remember Damage, the Bandit wrap project, I put the secondary tank on top of the tank like armour. It's the same principle as this, and this was the box or bag of bolts. They're zinc plated, so I just ground the zinc off and that'll be done. There we are. I got 100 bolts, bag of 100 nuts as well, so quite handy. I mean, they were screw fix and it was about 15 quid for the lot, pennies. Right, so that works. That really works. It will look a lot better once it's painted, because obviously this is, like I said, a little bit buckled, and it will get painted in. It did straighten out a bit. At one point I thought, yeah, I've gone and cut up a tank, you know, sides to get the same shape. When welding it, I could have probably hand buckled that shape, hand made that shape with a piece of flat sheet metal, but there you go, I didn't. That actually follows perfect. And I mean, even little things like, come to this edge, there's a curvature in there which follows in. So little tiny subtle things, and once it's painted it will look great. It really will. Right, one vent, starboard side, done. Right, I'm going to call it a day now. That is enough for one go. Like I said, bite-sized pieces. Do one thing, finish one thing at a time, then move on after. But this is kind of two sides, so I want to do the other side next time. What is it now? 4 o'clock? Blimey. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. Jesus Christ. Again, 7 hours has just vaporised. I've not 7 hours. Just after 9 o'clock, and it's just gone 4 o'clock now, and that's just absolutely typical. I can't do any more now. I'm going to call it done. I want to do the other side with as much enthusiasm as I went into this side. There's a few little things still to do to that. I want to do a little bit more lapping on it just to get it nice and smooth. It will need a little tiny bit of filler on the outside, just to get that nice smooth finish for the bodywork, but that's all just part of it, same as everything else. The other side is another job, so I'm going to do next time. But also, I'm not going to put everything away. You know me, a little bit OCD. I like my workshop nice and tidy. I don't like stuff out everywhere, but I'm working it out now. I'm spending so much time putting stuff away, tidying everything down, then coming back into the next video and getting all the same stuff out again. If I was doing a different job next time, yeah, put everything away. But I'm doing exactly the same job next time on the other side, so I need all this that's out now, so I'm going to leave it all out, which really goes against the grain for me. It's going to save time. I want to get to the computer and get this uploaded for today, weekend. Was it Friday now? I want to get it uploaded for Saturday, and then tomorrow, Saturday, I don't know. In the next session, I'll get the left-hand side done, and then that's both the vents done and out of the way. Then I've just got to put the wire lip around the whole belly pan like you saw around this, which makes it look thick, which is really cool. And I've got that little front bib to do finally at the end, and then that really will be just a final lap down, trim everything up, make it look finish, flash it over in some heat-proof silver, and move on to the tail. So really, honestly, with every little step getting closer, which I'm really stoked about. I want to get onto that tail. I'm starting to get impatient now. I don't want to leave this because I'll never come back to it. You know what it's like. So I'll leave all this out, go against the grain, call it done. I'll come back for the next one and get that left-hand side done. Okay, thanks for watching. Take it right safe. See you next time. I'll leave you with all the friends. No, leave it.
I was told so many stories, and I kept them in my stomach. Lies, the truth, fake smiles, of blood money. I lost cause at a loss for words, trying to keep my tone down. What I'm saying's absurd, unusual, the context unique, buried in the depths of metaphorical speech. A hidden message. Pull the infinite strings, reconnect the ends, and pretend to justify the means. Parallel, we're reading the same page. Turn days into literature, simple as loose change. It was perfect, or at least that's what I'm told. Courage is dead, spending my life fearing the cold. I was useless, feeling like dead weight, plain as day. Introducing when handshakes. Originality was spread across the board. Intricate self-worth, I'm searching for more. I where rain doesn't fall on my fields. It takes a drought to avoid all the secrets that I concealed, hidden within the dust-covered land behind the city. The street lights are dim and the fog is always walking with me. It's nothing new, my eyes adjusted to the scene, flickering on and off, it's just the daily routine. I grab a hold of time, forcing not to leave. The weeds grow sporadic and my home is where I'm quarantined. Thinking less, move the top to where the fuel rests, giving all I got to breathe life to the common sense. Moving the top to where the fuel rests, giving all I